Hello, friends. Hi. So, I am doing something different today. Usually all my videos are pre-recorded um, and edited, but today I want to do something different. I wanted to actually sit and talk to you guys while I'm actually doing something else. So recently I got into vector art, and I took a class on Spotify on Skillshare, and the class was really fun. And I want to talk about creativity and how we struggle as creatives to be creative. I think because we get in our heads too much. And I'll talk to you guys while I'm actually doing something. So this is new. This is something I haven't done before. And I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. So let's get started. All right. So this is something, an image that I got off of, what is it, Pinterest? And so I'm just going to do this vector art image on this image. So let's talk about creativity. I think when you hear the word creative or creativity, you tend to overthink it. And I think for me, especially when I was younger, it was really easy for me to be creative. Like I was just having fun. I was out there, playing in the grass and pretending. I don't know. I was on an adventure. I used to play in my uncle's waterbed and pretend that I was a mermaid. So it was fun. And I wasn't really thinking about being creative, but I was being creative, right? I was creating stories when I played with Barbies. And similarly, for men, even when they play with trucks and things like that, they're still acting out like a story, like a simulation, whether someone's crashing into something or I don't know, whatever you guys tend to dream about. It's still storytelling. It's still creating. And it's all around having fun, right? Like we're not overthinking things. And I think the older we get, the more we tend to overthink. And it makes sense because, the older you get, that's when people say, oh, you got to decide what you're going to be for the rest of your life, right? Like we should know, like, what do you want to be when you grow up at 7 years old? I don't know. I have no idea. And I think that's okay. But I think it's kind of jarring because when you're younger, like you're given all this free time, you're given recess and all this like extra space to play around. But then in 7th grade, all of a sudden, it's not okay for you to dream. It's not okay for you to play. Like you have to get serious about your studies, like about your work, about your future, And I feel like a lot of Western, I don't know how it is in other places, but I feel like a lot of Western mentality is set on work. Like it's set on working, it's set on making a living. And I think that's where we have it wrong. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's where our creativity dies. I don't think that, just me personally, I don't think that God intended us to know at age 7 what we want to be when we grow up, or even 18. I think about when they used to have college fairs and stuff like that. And so when you really think about it, you start trying to figure out what you're going to be, maybe like in 9th grade. So it's not even at 18, because by then you should have applied for college and scholarships and all that other stuff. But when we're younger, it's like drilled in us that we have to have a career plan. We have to have something planned. And I feel like with all that stuff, like, oh, well, I got to make money and I got to, be successful in my parents' eyes or in my school's eyes. That's where we kind of lose our creativity. That's where we kind of lose play. And then when we get older, we realize, especially for creatives, it's like, I haven't been creative in a minute. Like I haven't been creative in a long time. And then you're trying to figure out how to get that creativity back. And so we go to these, these extremes. We go to all of these like conferences, or I don't know, like we sign up for a creative coach. Like, and I'm not knocking people who do it because I think that's amazing. I do think sometimes you need to be coached out of your own head to do amazing things. But I think we make it more complicated than it needs to be. I honestly believe that we were born creative and we just kind of lose touch of it the older we get. We tell our kids like, oh, you got to grow up now, And it's like, when did growing up like become like equivalent to deading our dreams? Like when did growing up become like this, I don't know, this place again where dreams die? I don't want to use that color. I want to use, let's see. Like, and why? Why does it have to be like that? Who said that when we get older, we have to stop dreaming? And I have this theory about dreams. Like, I think a lot of people think that, oh, when you stop dreaming, you lose your dreams. Like, they just kind of die. I don't think dreams ever die. I think that they just turn into a cancer that eats away at something. So like, you know, instead of creating, you're criticizing other people, or you're being judgmental, or you're trying to shield other people from doing their things because you feel like, oh, well, I failed and this didn't work out for me, so it can't work out for you. You know, like I don't, and it could be like, it could have good intentions. Like I know a lot of parents tell their dreaming kids, okay, that's cute and all, but you need a real job. You know, you need to figure out some sort of way to make some income. And so these things are coming from well-meaning places, I think, you know, but I think that for some people, especially creatives, it's not going to work. Like I've had so many jobs. I've had so many jobs, whether I was working at McDonald's or Target. Where else have I worked? I can keep going. IHOP, the aquarium in Baltimore. I've worked on campuses. Like when I was in school, I worked at McDonald's again. I served at Applebee's, Lucky Strike, Lane's, the bowling alley. I've had a lot of jobs, and every single one, and maybe it was because it was service industry, I felt like I was gonna die there. Like I was like, after a while, it's like, okay, making money, like this is cute, but like I could be at home writing songs right now. That's how I felt at every single job I've had. And it makes me feel like a failure because it's like, well, you know, my mom told me that I need to have like some sort of plan figured out or something, you know, and if I'm not able to provide for myself, then I'm a failure of a person. Or people will tell you, oh, well, you can still chase your dreams, just, you know, after the 9 to 5. Not right now. Like the dreams and the play are for like vacation, they're for leisure. But what if you really want to make, you know, a career out of what you're doing, you know? And I understand, like, there's this idea, like the starving artist, like people don't want their kids to starve. They don't want their kids to like be out in the street somewhere. And so I get that, but I think that it's way more detrimental to an artist to not make art, you know? Like there's something again that is way different as an artist, like something different that they experience when they can't create. Like, it's like, they feel like they're dying. And so I kind of want to encourage y'all creatives out there that, you know, it's not as hard as we make it to create. You know, we did it when we were young effortlessly, and we didn't call it creating. We called it play. We called it playing. Like we would be outside in the grass, like I said, playing with Barbies. We would be creating stories in our heads. We would be playing make-believe and having imaginary friends and things like that. And I feel like that is the stuff that makes us good creatives. Like that's the stuff that really brings joy, that brings stories, that brings, again, play enough for us to create. And I say this because even as creatives, especially if you're a professional creative, like someone who makes money from what they create, I think sometimes, you know, so for example, I'm a photographer, and photography is how I make money. I take pictures of people. It has to look a certain way. I have to market it a certain way. So I really don't have a lot of room to play. I don't really have a lot of room to like, you know, I don't know, unless my client is like trusting me with my own vision, I don't really have a lot of room to figure out what I like, because it's not really about me. It's about the client. And so I understand that. So I tend to like keep it like really neutral, really basic when it comes to creating for clients. But I make sure that I have creative projects because I need that creative outlet, or else I will hate taking pictures. Like after a while, I need a break. I need a break from being a photographer because my visions aren't coming to light. It's just my clients' visions. And again, if you're making money from it, that's okay. But I really feel like you have to go out of your way to make personal projects and things like that to keep your creativity flowing. You know, so let's say that you're not a professional artist. Let's say that you're just like in recovery. You're trying to figure out, well, how do I just be more creative in life, right? In general. I really believe that, again, it's not that complicated, but it is complicated. I think that we just have to make time in our schedule to be creative. I really think that it's that simple. Like, just like you schedule a date with your husband or your spouse or your boyfriend or, with your friends, you have to do the same thing with your creativity. So the reason why I'm doing this is because clearly, as you can see, I'm not I'm not a visual artist by any means. I don't draw. Um, I'm a photographer, yes. So I guess kind of that's visual art, but I'm not one who creates art from like just my hands. Like, I'm going to sketch this out. That's never been like a strong point for me. And I thought that, oh, if I'm not a good artist, then I can't make art, right? If I'm not a good visual artist, then I have no business, I have no business creating. Ooh, made a mistake. I have no business sharing what I'm doing with other people because they're going to judge me. They're going to say like, oh, this isn't good. This doesn't qualify you to be an artist. But I think it really goes back to intention. Like, I don't think everything the intention of everything has to be a thing. Like, I feel like we make everything a thing. We got to monetize this. We got to make money from that. And so because we're so worried about monetizing stuff, we don't leave any room in our schedule for play, for just doing things because it's interesting. So like I said, I took this class by Lacey Jordan. She's a Black visual artist. And this is what she does. Like, she creates vector images. And I really enjoyed this. So in the beginning of the year, that's when the pandemic kind of hit really hard. And everybody was trying to figure out what they're going to do, especially people who are giggers like me. There were no clients. I couldn't take clients because the pandemic had hit so hard. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need to be creative somehow. I need to do something, instead of just twiddling my fingers here and waiting for the virus to go away, which it hasn't. So I just decided to take some classes on Skillshare to try new things, to flex the creative muscle. And I really, really enjoyed this class that she taught. She made it really easy, really simple to understand. And overall, it was just something that I did to have fun. Like, I created my own creative project. And I'll share some of that with you guys later, where I just did these kind of images of my friends and I gifted it to them. And so what happened later is I was like, you know what? I can make this a thing. I can make money from this. And because I was trying to make money from it, I was too worried about it being perfect or good enough. And so then, because I was worried about being perfect and good enough, it kind of took the joy out of it. Like, I did that to myself because, I don't know, I guess I just felt like, oh, well, this is the only way that it can be validated. And it's like, some things can just be hobbies. Like, some things can just be because you just want it to be, And I know that in this world, it's hard to think that way because what they tell you, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Like, don't pursue something unless it's like going to make you $1 million. Like, everybody needs to have a side hustle. And while I do believe that you should have multiple streams of income, I'd also believe that some things should just be for leisure. Some things should just be for play, at least in the beginning stages. Like, I feel like when we put too much pressure on our art and our creativity to be perfect, to be good, that's when we start to lose the joy. So I had to really tell myself, like, okay, that was fun. That was fun for a second. Let's not make this a moneymaker anymore. Let's just do this because it feels good. It gets your mind off of things. Your friends like it when they send it to you. When you send it to them, it brightens their day. And that could be enough. That could be enough. Like, that could be the reason why I learned how to do this. And that's fine, But be careful because, again, the world will tell you, no, you need to make money. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with money. I think, again, you need money to live. You need money to create. You need more money to be able to create more things. But I also believe, like I said, in leisure. And that kind of goes into rest because as a Black woman, just being honest, there hasn't been many opportunity for me to just chill, like, for a lot of reasons. For one, I don't know, coming from, I guess, parents who are children of people who struggled their whole lives, who hustled hard, who worked really hard for everything that they have. That mentality is you're kind of born with it. You're kind of born into that culture of like, no, you gotta hit the ground running. As soon as you come out the womb, like, you gotta do the thing. And And I don't think that my parents like did that to me on purpose. You know, I just feel like that was their culture that they grew up in. That's what they experienced. You know, that was the making of, you know, a successful Black person, is their ability to bring the bacon home, their ability to provide for their family. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around. So that's how they measured their success. Again, by how much money they made. Can you pay for your kids, you know, dinner and their new shoes and other things that they need as they're about to go to school and things like that. And so I think for me, it was never, my parents never had a chance to really chill and relax and really rest, you know? And I think back to when I was younger, and I feel like we all have this kind of experience, especially if you're a kid of a Black parent. And Black, I mean, not just American Black, but Black in general. On Saturday mornings wasn't for resting. It wasn't for chilling and sleeping in or brunch or anything like that. Saturday mornings were for cleaning and for doing, because for the rest of the week, you've been doing work for other people. This is the only time that you really have to do work for your own self. So not only am I busting my butt all week for other people, but now I got to wake up early just because, you know, and clean. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cleaning. We should be cleaning, but I really didn't really have the opportunity to just like, oh, I just want to sleep in because I want to sleep in. No, like there was no just sleeping in just to sleep in. Like, you know, the parents will wake you up and be like, oh, it's time to get up. And you'd be like, why? And then they would say, just because it's time to get up, you know, and their thought was, if everybody else in the house is awake, so should you. You should be awake too. Like you ain't special. Like you need to get out of bed just like everybody else. You need to help me clean this. You need to help me garden. You need to help me do the dishes or clean the bathroom or whatever your chore was when you were younger. And so because every Saturday morning was like that, or like I had to do all these chores before I went out with my friends. And so I think a lot of people can resonate with that, no matter, you know, what background you have. It's like, no, you got to do these chores before, you know, you hang out with your friends. And to one point, I understand it. Like you got to teach your kids responsibility. You got to teach them. You can't just be out here doing whatever you want to do. Like you have responsibilities. But I also feel like it kind of teaches you that you can't just enjoy fun without struggling first. Like you have to earn fun. You have to earn rest. And it shows itself, that same mentality, in my art. You know, it's like, oh, you can't just create, you know, for yourself. You got to share it with everybody, and it has to make you money. And you can't, you know, just sleep in or do things out of leisure. It has to like have a greater purpose. And especially, and I keep saying this about like Black people, because I feel like our art is just about revolution just because it exists. You know, I think back to Black people in slavery. You know, that's how we got here. So let's talk about it. In slavery, everything we made was for other people. Like, when did we really have a chance, we as in our ancestors, have a chance to really enjoy the fruit of our work? Like the fruit of our work was rest sometimes, you know, like that's what, like, oh, you did all this work. Great. Now you can have maybe Sunday off because, you know, we Christian and we want you guys to just chill today, you know, or I don't know, what's something else that they could have done? Like, oh, today is, you know, a celebration or a holiday. And so now you can rest. And so I feel like we've taken that from our ancestors, right? This idea of like, oh no, I got to work. I got to keep working, you know, and I can't even enjoy what I make. The good food that we cooked was in the master's house. We got the scraps and we made beautiful things from it. Absolutely. But we never really got to enjoy it. We had to find our own joys. We had to figure out how to find our own joys in life with our family, all this other stuff, all while being traumatized. And, you know, I think back to my ancestors and I'm saying to myself, like, how can I better honor them, right? With my art? How can I better honor them, you know, with the talents God gave me, whether that's drawing or, you know, whatever. Like, how can I honor them? And I think sometimes some ways that I can honor them is by doing stuff because I enjoy it, not because it belongs to somebody else, not because, you know, it has to make me money. That's that same mentality that they had that I'm carrying it with me, you know? And like, what would be the point? What would be the point of, hey y'all, I'm seeing the comments. Hi guys, thanks for being here. But yes, like what would be the point of me struggling and clamoring and doing all this stuff when my own ancestors fought for my freedom, the freedom to create, the freedom to make things because I want to make it, the freedom, you know what I'm saying? To like be all of myself. Like what would be the point if I'm born in all of this privilege that they did not have, right? What would be the point of me working my fingers to the bone and stressing out? Like that means all their struggle would be for nothing. Like it would be, that would not honor them. Like I imagine, I've never met her, but my great grandmother, I mean, I don't think you think I would know her, but I imagine if she were to come visit me and I'm stressing myself out, like, yo, this is not like what I intended for you. This is not the dream I had for you. You know what I'm saying? And I want to honor my ancestors by one, taking care of myself, enjoying things, having fun, resting, sleeping, creating things that I enjoy, that I like, just for the sake of creating it and because it feels good, right? And all this creativity I have from them. Like the voice I sing with, it's not just my voice. Like it's my mother's voice, it's my auntie's, my grandmother, my great grandmother. Like my voice, my texture, the way I sing, like how I form my sound, all comes from them. Like, and it's a gift that they have given me. And so in that way, like, I want to be able to use the gift they've given me to honor them. And I don't think that they would want the sounds that I create to be sounds of struggle and of not feeling good enough, you know, of measuring myself by measuring my worth by vanity metrics, none of that. Like, because I know for myself, like if and when I have kids, I want my kids to be free. I want them to be free. I don't want them worrying about the stuff that I worried about. I don't want them worrying about who likes them and who doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I want them to be fortified. I want them to be like confident in the fact that you're amazing because you exist. God doesn't waste life. You know what I'm saying? And so I know I'm kind of ranting, but the point I'm getting to is I want to honor the people who came before me by enjoying the life that I have. You know, there's nothing I can do. I don't know. They don't know I exist. I'm assuming. But I imagine that their dream for me, they couldn't imagine what life is like for me right now. Just like, what, 3 generations ahead of me? I don't know what that's going to be like, you know, but I would hope, I would pray that it would be different than anything that I had to experience, anything that I had to go through. And so that's why I create. I create, one, because I feel the urge to create, to make things, even if it's not perfect, even if it's like this, if it's just like trial and error, right? But I also create with them in mind. Like I carry them wherever I go. I carry their stories wherever I go. And I say the same thing to you, whether you're Black or not. Like, honor, one, first, your God who created you. Like, honor the God who gave you the talents. You know what I'm saying? Do something with it, you know, but also do it because it just feels so good. Like this, like it feels like drawing, like when you were a kid, when you would color with crayons and stuff like that. That's what it feels like to me. Like, it's like, oh, it's like a coloring book. Like this is like the number colors and stuff like that. It feels good. But again, also because my people gave birth to me to create. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Thank y'all so much for being here. Sailor Girl 05. Hey, Marquita. Hi. Kim is here. Okay, so the shirt I'm wearing, let me actually change the screen. The shirt that I am wearing, this is Kim's shirt. I am fearless and free. Yes. And there are times where I don't feel fearless and there are times I don't feel free. But I love that she created this shirt because it's a reminder, like, to try to walk in that fearlessness and that freedom, even when I don't feel it. But when I'm wearing the shirt, I'm like, yo, let me go through life. Let me try to be as fearless and free as I can be. So please go check her out. She's here in the comments. She's a singer as well. She has an album coming up that's going to come out soon. So please check her out. She's amazing. But yeah, y'all, like, even if you're not like a visual creative, that's okay too. Even if you're not the best singer, that's fine too. Like, I think we hear the word creative and we think like, oh God, like it has to be, I don't know. It has to be like super legit. And really, if you create meals for other people, that counts too. If you create experiences for other people, like bring to front, if you create a safe place for other people, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's still honorable. That still counts. And I want us to be able to walk into every part of our creativity, not measuring it up against somebody else's stuff, because that's not for us. That's for them. And I know it's easier said than done because I struggle with comparison all the time. But yeah, I just want to be able to give my children a sense of freedom. And I know if I don't feel free, if I don't get free, if I don't fight for my freedom, like, and not even if I don't have kids, right? Let's say that, God wills it that I'm never able to carry children. I still want to be able to transfer that freedom to create, like, to other people. That brings me so much joy. Like, when I'm talking to somebody and like they have a creative breakthrough, I'm like, yes, like, please go out into the world with all of this and do the daggone thing. That brings me joy. And I know that, like, there's an interview I did with Denise on my channel where she talks about being free and how we need to get free so other people can get free. Whether you have family members who, I don't know, maybe they're struggling in certain things. Maybe they're like not feeling like, we feel like they're not walking in their true freedom or everything that God can have for them, which is so frustrating because you want them to be like, yo, can you just get it together? Like, get it together, right? But I feel like sometimes we have to be the example first. Like, sometimes there's no way that I can really encourage and inspire someone else unless I'm working through my stuff publicly or like authentically and honestly. And also if I haven't gotten there yet, because I lack the tools, I lack the know-how. Just like, if someone tells you that they're going through something similar to what you're going through, you feel seen. Like, you feel like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. Like I'm not the only one who's like struggling with this, and there is so much healing in that. Like, even though we might not have all the answers, we might not have like, the real steps to give, just being seen is half the work. And I feel like, one, I want to be that for people, but also it's amazing to me when I feel that way. That's why I love being so connected to so many other creatives, no matter if they're professional or just hobbyists or whatever, because they get it. Like, they get it. Like, it's like this constant work, this constant fight to get free, and it's hard work because creative work is really therapeutic. It's really, sometimes it could be traumatic. There's someone I know who was embarrassed in elementary school. And so because of that experience, she hasn't created anything, and it was from the moment of her making herself vulnerable, which is hard, which is risky, right? She made herself vulnerable and she got burned. She got her feelings hurt. And that's a real situation. And so since that point, like, she's just realizing years later, like, oh snap, like, that's the reason why, I haven't been creating. So sometimes creating can be like a therapy session. Also, therapy is for everybody. I am a big supporter of therapy. I think more people should be in therapy, and not just because something is wrong. I think sometimes for maintenance too, like, just to, like, you're not just going to take your car. I know we're not machines, but you're not just going to take your car to the shop just because something goes wrong. No, like, you're going to do everything you can, hopefully, unless you're like me with my first car, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that like your car is running right, to make sure that like, okay, let me get the oil changed and all this other stuff. Like, that's why going to the doctor is important. Like before something is wrong, before you feel, off, it's important that we take care of ourselves, but also like maintain ourselves too. So nothing has to be traumatic for you to go to therapy. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. I've been to therapy often. Life is hard. Life is hard. I don't have the answers. I ain't never been here before. You know what I mean? I'm just trying things and seeing what works and what doesn't. And a lot of times, some of that stuff does not work. Does not work. And so for this, just full transparency, this year, so I'm actually on a year-long journey of not drinking. I don't think I want to keep this in here. I think I'm gonna take it out. But I'm on a year-long journey of not drinking. And not that I think I'm an alcoholic, even though that's what they say that's what alcoholics say, or whatever. Like, even if I was, like, I just felt like I was using alcohol to cope with a lot of stuff for a long time, like from college. And I don't want to do that no more. I don't want that crutch anymore. Like, I want to be able to feel all my feelings and somehow work through them, And I don't know, what else should I add to this? I think I might color the neck. Oh, wait, that's what's going on. Okay. But yeah, so like I was just using alcohol to like feel better in ways that like I didn't feel like I had the vocabulary or like the resources to. Because I mean, in college, like they give you like, oh yeah, here's your, here's a person you can go to go talk to at the health center. But it's not really, I don't know how it is now. Maybe it's different. But I really didn't get a lot of resources about like, oh, you might be experiencing depression, which is kind of like, oh, I'm in college, I'm drinking. That's what we do. That's what college people do. When in reality, I was really developing habits that were not healthy because I didn't know how to fix myself, so to speak. I don't know. I feel like that's not a PC term. But yeah, so, and it's interesting because when we first started, so it started in June of this year. So June 15th. And it's interesting because you don't really realize how like how much alcohol plays a part in your life. Like you're thinking about, oh, I'm just going to not drink alcohol. But then you think about the get-togethers and you think about like, oh, like everybody's going to be drinking here. Like, what am I going to be doing? Is that going to be awkward? Are people going to feel weird? Are people going to think that I'm being better than them? Which is like, has nothing to do with you. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to bring this up. If y'all can't. You're like wondering, what is she doing? But yeah, like, there we go. Finally. I don't want people to feel weird because I'm choosing not to drink. You know what I mean? But again, like that work has nothing to do with me. Like that's their work. Like them feeling triggered somehow because I'm just choosing not to drink. It's like, Alecia, that's not your work. That's not your stuff to deal with. But anyway, so I'm doing it because I want to know what it's like to feel joy without having to drink. And that kind of sounds like a problem now that I'm saying that out loud. But I really feel like I said, that was my coping mechanism. Like, cause I didn't have access to therapy. I didn't have the money for that. You know what I mean? But now I feel like, okay, let's do the thing. Let's do the work. Like it might be hard, but really it hasn't really been that hard. Like there are some times I'm like, oh, that would be nice if we could have like, a cocktail or something and where we're not doing it. But other than that, like I've been pretty good. And I want to be sensitive because I know some people, that's not their story. You know what I mean? Like it's not just sunshine and rainbows and like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm just not drinking. Like for some people it's really, really hard. And I get it. I totally understand. Especially when that's been your, like the way that you like, I don't know, get through life. That's difficult. So anyway, my whole point, therapy is important. But also I feel like I'm just at a point where I just want to make some changes in my life. And it's just personal. Like I don't knock any of my other friends if they're drinking. I don't make them feel like, oh, you shouldn't be drinking. No, that's not my business. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my business. If they reach out to me for help, like I can lead them to some other resources because I'm not qualified to do anything. But yeah, like other than that, it's just been interesting. Okay. So this is what I have so far, you guys. I think, I don't know. I think I'm done for right now. I might shade in the hair later or something. Yellow? I don't know. What y'all think? Does the yellow look okay? Or you think I should do like a different color? Like, I don't know. What's complementary to yellow? I think it's like purple. I mean, to pink. To pink is like maybe, well, I should know this, but I don't. So we're just gonna keep experimenting real quick. Let's try blue. I like that. I like it. Let's see if I can bring this down a little. Yeah, I like it. What y'all think? Do you like it? This is just a little sketch, a little play around. There are things I would change about this, but again, I'm just having fun. It doesn't have to be a thing. The perfectionist in me does not have to, make this a thing that I can't enjoy. But I like what we have so far. So again, yeah, I think that's good. I appreciate y'all being here with me. I appreciate y'all showing up for my first. Oh, thank you. You like it? Yay! Awesome. Yes. I want to shout out everybody that's been here, even if you're gone already. I appreciate y'all. Sailor Girl. Hi. Marquita. Kim. Thanks. And my husband, Jamal. Thanks for being here. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope what I said out of all this rambling made sense. Yeah, like you are creative. You are your ancestors' wildest dream. I know that that's a phrase that tends to be overused. But I really want y'all to take time to actually just enjoy yourself. Just have fun. Just relax. And creating and like building our creativity is really about playing. Like just have fun. Don't worry about the end product. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about what other people are going to think of you. Listen, I just did this. I don't know what I was doing, but I like how it came out. I'm happy. And I really feel like when we give ourselves permission to play, that's when all the creative juices start flowing. Like, and it could be something that we don't even do. Take a class, take a dance class, move your body in ways. Oh, hi, Drum Major for Justice. Hi. I didn't forget about you. Thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, like take a dance class if you're not a dancer. Do something different that you don't normally do. And that's the way that you get your creative juices flowing. So like I said, in the beginning of the year, photography was dead. I could not take any clients because nobody really knew what the sickness was really bringing. Nobody knew what it was about. But I really wanted to create something. I needed to create. And like I said, artists need to create. And so I signed up for Skillshare. I definitely recommend it. There are a lot of people on there sharing all these tips and like all these creative projects you can be taking part of. But yeah, so I joined that. And so I'm just going to share that journey, I think, with you guys and just show up and talk to y'all because this is fun. This is a lot of fun. I was really nervous, but I'm happy that I did this. Happy that y'all are here and keep creating stuff. Have fun. Take yourself on a creative play date. Go to like, I don't know. I know everything's pretty much closed, but like draw something, draw a comic strip. If you're not a drawer, an illustrator. Sorry. If you're not an illustrator, make a comic strip or make a portrait, take pictures on your phone, be a photographer for a day. Just do stuff because you're genuinely interested in it, not because you want to make money from it or because you feel like you have to be great at it. Just do it because it feels so daggone good. And because our ancestors could not do it for fun, please. Like everything they made was for other people. And this is the time that we just got started with being able to kind of start enjoying our creativity. I think about my mom too, like the generation before me, she didn't just have time to play. No, but she's just getting into this place where she's just discovering new talents, in her 60s, which I love. Like it brings me so much joy because I feel like people think that at some age your dreams just die. And that's not the case. Like your dreams don't ever die, but also you have new dreams and new interests that you could be discovering along the way. That's what happened to my mom. She used to model and sing and do all this stuff. And now she's making soap and that's bringing her a lot of joy, So yeah, so it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be for you first, to honor God, the person that gave you the interest and the talents, but also, again, to honor your ancestors and to free other people. You know, there's a duty that we all have as creatives and as just people in general. And people in general, y'all are creatives. Like, whether you're creating kids, whether you're creating meals, spaces, like I said, communities, we're all creatives. And when we don't create, that's when like all the vile and disgusting stuff happens, you know? Yeah, where we feel like we have the least amount of peace, you know? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, I hope that you're having a lovely Sunday and, you know, relaxing and just recuperating and getting ready for Monday. And I will talk to you guys again, you know, when I do something else for fun. So until next time, you guys, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day or evening. All right.